In the vast savanna of Africa, where the golden sun hit the earth and the rhythm of the land danced in harmony, a profound love story unfolded. It was a family of four, made up of father, mother, and two sons. The sons were Ejike and Madi. The two sons were the only children of Mr. and Mrs. Adinamo. Ejike was senior to Madi. When the boys were young, a soothsayer had told their parents some things that worried their minds, and they did not know how it was going to happen. The revelation was that Ejike would be the link to Madi's happiness in marriage, and that the key to finding Madi's soulmate was in Ejike's hands. The two brothers loved life, and they loved themselves so much. They said their love life was entwined and, if not followed with caution, will cause the disintegration of the family. It was also added that Madi was the rightful owner of whatever it was that was with Ejike, and when the time came, there was to be no argument about it. Their parents had mused over the revelations a lot, but could not decipher the meanings, and so had given up on it. Let the will of our Creator be done mercifully in our children's lives, they will always say. When the boys became adolescents, Mr. and Mrs. Adinamo disclosed the revelations to them and advised them that if such a thing ever occurred, they were to resolve the issue with understanding. They also let them know that they were not aware of how it was going to happen, but they should be very, very careful and aware of any impending danger where women were concerned. And the boys kept that at the back of their minds. Ejike and Madi grew into handsome young men, and Ejike went to live in the city, while Madi remained in the village with his parents. Ejike was now working in Lagos and was very successful in his occupation as a medical personnel in a big company. Madi was in trading business, and he had a big shop where he sold different types of locally made goods. Although he lived in the village, he had built his own house and was not living in the same house with his parents. Each time Ejike came home for a visit, he would go to the family house and stay with him until he went back to the city. And it was like a family reunion. There was a girl called Adobe that was always following Madi around. He knew she wanted him. She liked him and wanted them to get married, but something always held him back, and he kept her aloof. They were always relating, but Madi made sure it was on a peripheral level. One day, Ejike sent a message home to his parents and brother that he was bringing a girl along with him, and he intended marrying the girl. He wanted to introduce her to his parents and family. He said he was in love with her and she was also in love with him. His parents and brother Madi were very happy that day when they got the message. At last, my elder brother wants to get married, said Madi. I'm happy to hear that. That will give me room to also get married after his own marriage has been done. Ha 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 ha, laughed their mother. My boy is a big man now, and soon I'll become a grandmother, she laughed. And I, a grandfather too, chipped in her husband, laughing as the three of them sat in the living room in the family house that evening. The day of Ejike's arrival came, and at about 6 o'clock in the evening, he arrived home with his wife-to-be. Eka, the wife-to-be, greeted her future parents-in-law respectfully And Ejike's parents were very happy to see her. They welcomed them home and they entered into the house. Mr. Adinamo was very happy to see them, especially for the fact that the girl her son had brought home was very beautiful and respectful. Madi, her second son, had not yet arrived. He went to a neighboring market and would be arriving later in the day. At about 8:30 that night, Mahdi arrived at his parents' home with Adobe, who had come with him to welcome brother Ejike, as she often called him. Both of them entered the house and Mahdi went to greet his parents respectfully and then turned to hug his elder brother Ejike. "Long time, bros," he said, laughing happily at seeing his elder brother again. The bond of love they had always shared vibrated and swirled all around them. "It's good to see you back home, bros," he said. Ejike laughed at the fond way of his calling him bros. "Good to see you too, Maddie," Ejike replied. "Let me introduce you to your future sister-in-law," he said, gesturing towards his girlfriend and wife-to-be. Maddie turned to face Eka, and Eka looked at him with a beaming smile on her face. But something happened instantly that shook the whole family in the living room. "You?" exclaimed Maddie, looking at Eka as though he had known her for a long, long time. "You? Where have you been? I've been waiting for you for so long," he said. Eka replied, "I've been waiting for you too." Tears welling up in her eyes. "I've missed you so much." "Come here," commanded Maddie, and he hugged her as she walked into his arms passionately. "Love of my life, I missed you," Maddie said, rocking her to the left and to the right. Thus they were until the perplexed and surprised family regained control of themselves and their father cleared his throat. The two of them, Maddie and Eka, drew apart and stared at the audience as though in a movie theater. Ejike, shocked to the bones, stood up and said quietly, "I don't understand this at all, my brother. What's going on?" he asked Maddie. Maddie looked at him straight in the eyes. "You can't marry her, brother. She's mine," he said straight to his elder brother. "Do you know my girlfriend before?" Ejike asked his ramrod standing brother in surprise. "No, I don't." "Yes, I do." But Maddie said in confusion. Yes and no, yes and no. He placed his hand over his head as though to clear it. Ejike turned to his girlfriend and asked, "Honey, have you met him before?" "Yes," she replied. "I mean, no," Eka replied. The confusion was so much. Ejike turned to his parents. "Father, Mother, I'm confused," he said, flopping down on the chair. His parents quickly took control of the situation. They calmed everyone down and tried to size up the situation. Maddie was telling Ejike that he would not allow him to marry Eka because she was his own woman, when he had never seen her in his life. What was happening? Adobe, who had accompanied him to the house, was surprised and sat in silence, watching it all as though in a film hall. The soothsayer who had predicted all these things and revealed all these things when they were young did not explain to be like that. So their parents sent for her to come and solve the mystery that was plaguing them all. She was sent for immediately. As soon as the woman entered the house, she looked around and said to Ejike, "Well done, boy. You've brought your brother's wife to him. You've brought your brother Maddie his wife." "What?" exclaimed Ejike and his parents, while Maddie and Eka kept looking and concentrating on one another. "Yes, you heard me right, son. the now aged soothsayer replied. They were all staring in surprise. When you were both young, she said, when you were both young boys, the gods told me all these things, that you will bring your brother's soulmate to him with your own hands. And that's what you've just done, she said. Let me explain. They were sitting quietly, listening now in surprise, with rapt attention on the soothsayer. Maddie and this girl are husband and wife. From the beginning of time, they have always been marrying one another. They are soulmates. Didn't you notice how they recognized each other and embraced? She asked. So, Ejike, do not make any trouble with your brother. Let them be and let peace reign. You'll see everything will be fine. Ejike was shaking his head. So this had been what they were telling them from childhood to be careful of. Oh, the girl that I've so loved, so much loved, all the way from the city, now belongs to my brother? That was how the family intervened and calmed Ejike down, and the problem was solved. To Ejike's astonishment, his younger brother Madi took over and made all the necessary arrangements to marry Eka. And within a short time, they were both married. Madi and Eka got married, and Eka came to live with him in the house in the village. Few years later, Ejike met another girl and got married to her. He was very grateful to have married his new wife because he found fulfillment in her. Many marriages have broken down when men and women met their soulmates and they were already married. They will run away with the man or woman, leaving their own wives and husbands and children behind. And the world will say they are promiscuous. But on the other hand, they are soulmates. When two soulmates meet, nothing can come in between them. They will go for one another. That's the end of the story. Don't forget to subscribe and press the notification bell so that you'll be the first to get my videos each time I release them. Also, like and share the video to others who love our African stories. Thanks for watching.